I would never criticize another man for what he does, because in the same circumstance, I would be no different. And
It's true.
if you have a reality that is so real to you, I have it on my back, perception is reality. If you believe something so deeply and I disrupt that reality for you, it's so much easier for you to hate me than listen and say, maybe you're telling the truth and I've just believed something that's a lie all this time. There's no man that's more hopelessly enslaved than the one that's in prison and believe that he's free. So when you live a life full of these ideas, and what did we say last time? Everyone has to have a narrative because it makes you feel safe.
Self-delusion.
If you're comforted in a reality and I tell you, hey, that's not true, instead of being like, all right, well, let's talk about it. Dude, diversity of thought is the most beautiful thing in this world.
Free speech.
I've always told people that I have friends, I have gay friends, Muslim friends, Christian friends, atheists. It's not about just proving to everyone that you're right. It's about, can we have a drink, discuss our differences, and still walk away as friends and agree that there are some things we might agree on, there's some things we might disagree on, but it's about how can we be harmonious with each other without judging each other and saying, oh, you're this way, this way, this way, because we don't have it all figured out.
But also being able to disagree.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Sitting down and saying, how do we start this conversation? We started by saying, what do we have in common? Let's start there.
Well, no, it's honestly not even what we have in common. It's tell me about yourself. It's
tell me about your life.
It's being interested in the other person.
From a business perspective, like that's how I connect with clients. That's how I sell to them. Right? I build a relation. I start off all my calls. Tell me about yourself. You know, what do you do at the company?
Exactly.
How does it relate to us? You know, what are areas that you carry out on a daily basis? How long you've been there? So I can get an understanding and a feel for them. Right? And like I had a call the other day with a gal. I could tell she just didn't want to talk. She was all about business. I was like, all right, cool. And we ran through what we had to run to. We were done. I had a call literally right after that. Sweetest lady in the world. We talked for about an hour. We chit chatted. We joked about family, kids, Thanksgiving. Awesome, so you have to know your audience and understand, but you have to have a basis for that conversation. And I think a lot of people, when they get into those conversations with someone that's an atheist or a Muslim or someone that's gay or someone that's of a different belief, that's fine. I love everyone. I truly do. I think that when you start to throw away the foundation of what you stand on, like, okay, well, let's take the Bible out of it. No, the Bible's my foundation. I'm not going to dismiss my foundation because then you win, because then I have nothing to rely on. So I'm not going to take the Bible out of it. I'm going to stand on what I believe in, but we can have a full-fledged conversation. I remember I had a guy that I had worked with years ago, and like he thought that I hated gay people, and I'm like, no. And we had like an hour-and-a-half conversation at work, and we walked away, and he told one of the girls I work with, and she told me after, she was like, he was so surprised you didn't hate him. I'm like, why would I hate him? She's like, well, because he's gay. I'm like, that means nothing to me. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like why would that constitute him being a bad person or something? I'm not no man. I'm no one to judge him. He has to stand before God for whatever he does, just like I do. So why would I judge him when I have all this stuff in my own life that I need to deal with?
If you want to have influence in the world, not from a selfish purpose, but actually make a difference, if you hate people, you are no longer going to have influence with those people.
Listen, man, at the end of the day, the reality is how you treat the least of these is how you treat me, right? So, I have so many times I've looked at, I grew up in a really different type of environment than a lot of the kids like I got to know in high school and as I got older. And, like in my church, for example, like it's a very, very like gospel-filled church. So like a lot of my friends growing up were of different demographics. And like, so I was never trained to see color. Like I didn't even know anything about that until I got older and started to like see it. And it was like really confusing to me. And that was one of the things about my dad and my mom that like I'll always hold dear, is like they never taught me about that, because to them they didn't see it either. Like you're just a person. Like that's all it is.
I didn't even know racism existed till I was 14.
Yeah.
Because all my friends growing up are black. And it was such a normal thing for me. And then, to be in that culture, because they respected me, I respected them.
Are you a good person? That's it.
Yeah,
that's all I was trained with.
Yeah. And so as I grew up and I found out there is I knew the history of racism, right? Like I knew about the KKK, all that stuff. But growing up, my environment didn't show me that, because I was so used to there being such respect and love. And then when I grew up and got older, I realized, okay, so it has happened to a lot of people, and not a lot of people see the world the way I do.
No.
And it was shocking, man.
It's mind-blowing.
John 13:35, we end with this. By this, and Jesus talking to his disciples, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Love is the biggest, most powerful weapon in the universe, and it can divide if you do it not out of a place of love, but out of a place of hate, out of a place of death. Because perfect love is this, that you know who you are, you know whose you are, and you know where you belong, and that's your foundation as a man or even as a woman, right? You have to know that love is the biggest weapon to tear down.
And also, love isn't always the same thing. For example, love can also be, I'm going to push you. And so it might be a more aggressive love, right? Like, I feel like when I was watching David Goggins, even though he doesn't know me, he was loving on me by cursing at me. Bro. And it was because he was helping me get out of that. So it doesn't mean love isn't always, oh, it's okay. Yeah, like sometimes that's a form of love, but there's tough love and helping people to get out of some time.
All you need is love.
Love is all you need.
I'm not singing. I agree with that for sure. And a lot of his message, I think it's related back to just, it's sober truth, man. And he's someone that, he even says, he's like, I don't care if you like me or accept me. He's like, I have a message and I'm going to get it out to everyone. And if they hear it and they interpret it the way that they want to, that's fine. But he's lived his truth and he will die in his truth. And like I said, like for me, like seeing what I've experienced in my life over the years, like drug addiction, money troubles, health troubles, losing really close friend, one of my really good friends, I've lost many friends to suicide, just a lot of things that have happened. It's sobered me to realize, like, man, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know right now, today, I have a responsibility to step up and stand on my truth. Wow. And I'm just going to live in that. And I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to mess up. But I think it's life is just so short. We don't know when tomorrow will happen, and that tomorrow could be the end. And I know one of the things that's been really inspiring for me, especially lately, that mantle from my father. Like he affected so many lives. My mom will call me and she'll say, hey, I was at the store today, and she'll tell me stories about all these people that come in and they're just like weeping about my dad. And like, he always used to pray over me, or he would just talk to me. Like and there's a lot of, they're on Capitol Boulevard. And there was a lot of people that would come in and like drug addicts, different people like that have just they're in dark places. And they were like, he was so respectful to me. He treated me like such a person. And like, that is something that about my father, like he'll never know how dear that is to me, that I got to see that. Like growing up, I was homeschooled. So he brought me everywhere with him. So I got to see everyone knew who my dad was. And he was such a massive personality. So, for people that don't have that type of fatherly figure, it's really hard because I don't feel like they have something to rely on in that sense. But I think that you can find the right type of people. Look in your community. They're out there. There's great men out there. And I think the hardest part for men especially is to trust, but you get hurt in community and you get healed in community. So sometimes you just have to accept, like, I've been hurt. This sucks, but it's time for me to step out and put myself out there. And, I'm learning, I'm taking it step by step, day by day. Again, I'm far from perfect, but it's
brotherhood, man.
Yeah.
That's why we started this channel. Ultimately, Wilson Brothers, we were sitting on the couch, David and I, and David's like, why aren't we doing this? Masculinity is under attack in America specifically right now, just even in the West in general. And men are being demasculated. They're being feminized. They're not being respected for their actual roles that they have as traditionally masculine men. And that definition is under attack. And so we wanted to say, okay, we were raised really well by an amazing father, an amazing mom. Let's set the standard again and say, no, it's okay to be a man. It's okay to stand up for what you believe, to have a good, firm foundation, to stand by your morals, your ethics, your code that you live your life by. Have a brotherhood around you of men that can hold you to that standard and hold you to the fire even at times when you don't feel like you don't have the motivation, but they help you to kick in that discipline that's required to get where you want to go.
I mean, bro, how many months when we were working out together and you had fallen off for a little bit, you had stuff going on in your life.
You're like, bro.
I would text you almost every day, hey bro, how did you work out today? And I wouldn't hear from you for like 4 or 5 hours, and I get a text, it'd be like a paragraph. Hey bro, sorry, it's been a really busy day.
Slap me in the face.
But no,
you need your brothers in that life.
But like you were in a rough spot, and I knew that, and you knew it was never from a place of judgment. It was always like, hey bro, I miss you.
Hey
bro.
You have to give those few people in your life that you trust with your life. I give my life for you. I trust you. You're my brother. You give those people the right to speak into your life unapologetically because you know they have your back and they have the best for you. So every day you text me, yeah, it's annoying, but I'm like, he's freaking right. He's freaking right.
And so and after a little while, you got back to it? I got
right back to it because I was like, I'm tired of letting my brothers down, but I'm tired of letting myself down. If you enjoyed this entire video with my buddy Jonathan, you can see the entire podcast right here.